TSC. So init actually hyphen. Yeah. In order to use this TSC, before this you have to install TypeScript, am I right? npm install globally what? TypeScript. Before this you have to install Node.js. Now, if anyone is missing, it will not work. First you need to install Node.js, then only npm will work. You install npm, npm is there, then you can install TypeScript. After installing TypeScript only TSC will work. Okay. Now, yesterday you learned how to create a project and how to set up a startup file. And you remembered we learned about two important files. One is package.json. What is it? It contains metadata, right? So another one, tsconfig.json. It contains the rules about TypeScript. So these are the basic things. Yesterday we created an application in Visual Studio Code. We will open that TypeScript app. This is what we designed. Now, here we will see how we can work with TypeScript. First, we have to learn the TypeScript language. In order to use TypeScript, you have to learn TypeScript language. So, first, to use TypeScript, we have to learn the TypeScript. So, we will start with TypeScript language basics. In TypeScript language basics, we have to learn about variables, data types, operators, statements, and functions. These all comes under language basics. I hope you learnt all these in JavaScript also, right? JavaScript, variables, data types, operators, statements, all are same. I am not going to repeat any JavaScript here. In order to learn TypeScript, Angular, you must know JavaScript first. So without JavaScript, you can't handle. So compulsory, mandatory. And whatever JavaScript basics are there, we will skip them here. We don't discuss again. Here we will discuss only the new concepts. What are new? Okay. So actually, first variables. Let's see variables. So here, one more important you should know is types. Here, TypeScript files. TypeScript files are saved with the extension.ts. TypeScript files are saved with extension ts. So that is first point. That means some program.ts. After that, we have to translate the TypeScript into JavaScript. So to translate TypeScript program into JavaScript, TypeScript program into JavaScript, you have to run this command tsc program.ts. TSC is TypeScript compiler. By using TypeScript compiler, you have to translate this program.ts. Yesterday I told you architecture. In the architecture I told you two compilers will be there. One is trans compiler, another one core compiler. So now when you run this command, actually this is going to, it generates program.js. That means it will generate a JavaScript file. Program.js. Program.js. Once you run the command, the TypeScript file converted into JavaScript. And the JavaScript file will have the extension .js. Now what you have to do is, you have to run the JavaScript program. Run the JavaScript program. You have to run the JavaScript program. How to run JavaScript program? To see the output. To see the output, you have to run JavaScript program. How to run JavaScript program? For that, we have to use node program.js. This is to run JavaScript program. So this will run the program and show the output. Right? First we have to compile. After compiling, we have to run. To compile, we have to use the command tsc. To run, we have to use the command node. Remember, you cannot run TS files. You have to run only JavaScript. Or you can do one thing. You can include the JavaScript file into HTML page. And you can test in HTML page also. How to include a JavaScript file in HTML page, you know already. Generally in head section, what we do? We use a script tag. Script source is equal to program.js. That is how we have to do. That means we can individually run the program and see. We can put in HTML and see. So there are two techniques. So I will show you both of them. Right? So you can see the output directly, or you can put this in a HTML page and you can try. So can I use TS file directly in HTML? No. Can I directly run TS file? No. So you can write the code in TypeScript. After that, you have to translate into JavaScript. Then you have to run JavaScript program directly or in HTML file. To run directly, you have to use node compiler, node program.js. And to use in HTML, you have to use link tag, script tag in the head section. You have to do that. I will show you both of things, right? But we don't know any TypeScript. So first we have to see how to use TypeScript. How do we learn TypeScript? See, first important in the TypeScript, we have to discuss about variables. Variables. So the concept of variables in TypeScript are same as in JavaScript. So no need to waste time in this. TypeScript in variables are same as variables in JavaScript. You know already in JavaScript how to declare variables. We have three keywords, na? So variables are declared by using three keywords. What are those? Var, let, and constant. These three. I hope you learned the differences also. What is difference between var, let, and const? Remember, when you are attending interviews, if they have to ask questions related to Angular, 50% of Angular interview will be on JavaScript only. Angular, React, like technologies, 50% of interview will be in JavaScript only. So you cannot handle interviews at high level if you are not perfect in your JavaScript. So you must have good awareness on that. And you people learned already JavaScript. I hope you know the difference. You know what is difference between var, let, and const. So the same concepts, right? So I hope you already learned what is hoisting. Am I right? You learned what is shadowing, right? Hoisting, shadowing, about variables, it is the common thing. Hoisting and shadowing all are same concepts. So when you learn JavaScript, you should know hoisting and you should know shadowing. What is hoisting? What is hoisting? That is global. Hoisting is the mechanism of using a variable before declaring. Using a variable before declaring. As actually we have to use a variable after declaring. But if you can use a variable before declaring, that means using of variable before declaring. Declaration will be later. That mechanism is called hoisting. And only var supports hoisting. LET and constant will not support hoisting. Hoisting means, for example, see, I will show you your JavaScript way, demo.html. Actually, suppose I am writing a script. So x equal to 10. So remember, I am writing use strict. That means JavaScript is in strict mode. And x equal to 10. And document.write x equal to the value of x. This is an error because x is not declared. It will show an error. In the console you can see it shows an error, x is not declared. That means x is not defined. Now I am declaring x here, var x. That means I am declaring after using it. This is called hoisting. It is okay, it will work. It will work. Generally in your other programming languages it will not work. But in JavaScript it will work only for var. It will not work for LET and const. Now you see here, I will refresh, it is working fine. This is called hoisting. That means you are using, but you declared somewhere later. But remember, if it is LET, it will not support hoisting. It will not support hoisting. It says cannot access x before initialization. Constant also will not allow. Constant also will not allow because constant requires initialization. That means even you define x equal to 10 here and I am removing here and we are trying to use it here. You can see now it's not working. So that is actually difference between var, LET and const. I don't know what difference you learned, but what is var, what is LET, what is const. Var will support hoisting. LET and const will not support hoisting. Var is function scope. LET and constant are block scope. They are block scope. Another important, var supports shadowing. LET and const will not support shadowing. What is shadowing? What is shadowing? Shadowing is nothing but declaring same name variable within the scope again is shadowing. Declaring same name identifier within the scope is called shadowing. For example, suppose you see here, suppose we are writing here a function. We are calling the function. Suppose here we have var x equal to 10. Now into x I define 20. Document.write, I am printing the value of x. Now what is the second line doing? What is first line? The first line is called initializing. Initializing. First line is initializing. Second line, assigning. Second line is assigning. First line is initializing. Initializing means at the time of declaring, if you pass a value, that is called initialization. It is initializing. This is assigning. Now, assigning, it will allow. It is no problem allow. Suppose I am again declaring var x. I am defining some 30 like this. This is also valid. This is called shadowing. Shadowing means redeclaring same name identifier is called shadowing. It is possible with var. You can see it is working fine. But it is not possible with let or const. If I use let or const, it will not allow shadowing. It will say that already declared. That is actual difference between var, let and const. So in JavaScript, when you learnt that variables are declared with var, let and const, you should know the difference between them. So what is the difference here? Let me give you the difference here. What is difference? Then I will give you these answers. What is the difference? Var. So it defines function scope variable. It defines function scope variable. And it allows declaring, assigning, and initialization. It allows declaring, assigning, and initialization. I hope you know already. Var x, this is called declaring. X equal to 10, this is called assigning. And var y equal to 20, this is called initialization. At the time of declaring, if you send a value, that is called initialization. Var will support all the three. Another important, it allows hoisting. It allows shadowing. All are supported by var. In JavaScript and in TypeScript, both are same. In JavaScript, what rules are there for var? The same rules are for TypeScript also. So another let. Let what? It defines block scope variable. Block scope variable means you declare in a block, it is accessible only in that block, not outside the block. And very important, it also allows declaring, assigning, and initialization. All three are allowed. But it will not allow hoisting and shadowing. Hoisting and shadowing are not allowed by let. So let is more restricted than var. That is the general difference between var and let. And what about const? So const, it also defines block scope variable. It also defines block scope variable. Const also same like let, block scope. But one important, it allows only initialization. It allows only initialization. That means no declaring, no assigning. It will not allow declaring and assigning. That means if I write const x, this is invalid. If I write x equal to 10, this is also invalid. This is invalid. Const will allow only initialization, means const x equal to 10. This is only valid. After that you put x equal to 20. Again this is invalid because const will not allow assigning. Const will not allow declaring, const will allow only initialization. That means if you are using const, you have to make sure that you send some value into it. At the time of declaring itself, you have to send a value. Otherwise, it is invalid. These are basic about const, and very important, it will not allow hoisting and shadowing. That means hoisting and shadowing is allowed only by var. So hoisting is allowed only by var, right? Yeah. So the question here is, what is hoisting? So it is the technique of accessing a variable. So before declaring, it is the technique of accessing the variable before declaring. That is called hoisting. And it is supported only for var. It is supported only for var. Only var supports hoisting. Another question is, what is shadowing? Shadowing means it is the process of declaring same name identifier within the scope. It is the process of declaring same name identifier within the scope. It is also allowed only for var. Only var will support shadowing. Others will not. Right? These are the differences between var, let, and constant. So actually, I don't need to explain all this for anybody who knows JavaScript, because all these are JavaScript basics. Right? In JavaScript, variables rules are this, and TypeScript also follows the same rules, right? So variable naming rules, I think already you know. You know that variable name must start with an alphabet or an underscore. Variable name can be alphanumeric, but it cannot start with a number or any special character. It can start with a special character underscore. Those rules are very common. All variable concept is same, right? Now, second is, we know var, let, constant. What is the purpose and how they work? Actually, what is the point about constant is, suppose here I defined constant x equal to 10. Document.write, so x equal to plus x. It is not valid because constant requires initialization. It must be initialized. Initialized means at the time of declaring, you have to pass a value into it. Now, after passing value, you cannot assign anything. It will not allow to assign. Then it will be an error. When you run this, you can see actually it is an error here. Assignment to constant is not supported. So that means const will support only initialization, no assignment, no declaring. Right? That is what actually the difference between var, let, and constant. So variables all same as JavaScript variables, because some people don't have a proper JavaScript idea. That's the reason I repeated these points again, because some people still don't know what is difference between var, let, and constant. That's the reason I repeated this. But actually this you generally learn in JavaScript only. Okay. Next, important, data types. Now, I hope you already learned that JavaScript is not strongly typed. Am I right? JavaScript is not strongly typed. That means it can store any type of value. You can assign any type of value. But TypeScript is strongly typed. TypeScript is strongly typed. It is strongly typed. Strongly typed. That means in TypeScript, when you declare a variable, we can define data type. So what is data type? Data type means data type is not just about what type of data. Actually, in any programming language, data type defines data structure. Data type defines data structure. That means data structure means it is about the type and about the range. That means don't think data type means what type of value. It is not just only what type of value, what range of value also. That means which value you can store, how much you can store. Right? That means data type defines both type of value and its structure. That means you can store a number. How much number? There is a limit also. That means it defines a limit and type. That is what actually data type. JavaScript is not strongly typed. So that means you can store any kind of value in a variable. But in TypeScript, it is strongly typed. Strongly typed means in TypeScript, what we do is when we declare a variable name, here we can put a colon and we can mention data type. That means now this variable can only this type of value. We have to use colon. In general, other programming languages, generally you mention int A, int B like that. But here, variable name, colon, data type. You have to define the variable name, colon, and data type. So, in JavaScript, this data type is not there. But in TypeScript, we have to mention the data type. We have to mention the data type. So, what data types are supported? So, all JavaScript data types are same in TypeScript also. All JavaScript data types are same in JavaScript, same in TypeScript. What data types you learned in JavaScript? You learned primitive types, am I right? Primitive types, what are the primitive types? We have number, we have string, we have boolean, we have null, and we have undefined. These are all the primitive types. JavaScript primitive types are number, string, boolean, null, undefined. And non-primitive types, we have array, we have object, and we have map. Array, object, and map are non-primitive types. In JavaScript, we have primitive and non-primitive types. The same in our TypeScript also. So no need to explain those types again. Whatever data types you learned in JavaScript, they are same as in TypeScript. But once a little change is there, that I will tell you. What are the changes? That means, see, generally, when you declare a variable, let's do TypeScript program now. Go to your project. In the project, we will go to SRC folder. Yesterday I told you all dynamic files are kept in SRC. In this I will add a new file and I will give the name as index.ts. TypeScript programs must have the extension .ts. Enter. Okay, here we have to write the logic. So I am declaring a variable let. Variable name is username and I want to store a string inside it. Then we have to put a colon string. Now when you define a string, you cannot store anything else inside it. You can initialize or you can assign. Initialize means here itself you can give. Suppose I entered some number, it's not allowed. It immediately shows an error saying that number is not assignable because its type is what? String. This is not there in JavaScript. In JavaScript, you can directly apply any variable. But here it is strongly typed. You mentioned string, only string. So here so many points are there, I will tell you. Here I entered some username. Suppose I am defining, so as age. Age must be a number. Then I can give a number. In that I cannot store any string. I have to store only a number. And for example, let, suppose I defined subscribed, right, like this. And this is a boolean. That means we have to keep a boolean in this. Actually, in your JavaScript, boolean types can store 1 and 0. In JavaScript, boolean 0 means false. Boolean 1 means true. 1 and 0 are treated as boolean, but not in TypeScript. In TypeScript, only true or false. In JavaScript, boolean conditions can be verified with 1 and 0. Right? So for example, suppose you are learning JavaScript. In JavaScript, suppose I said where x equal to true, where y is equal to true, where z is equal to x plus y. True plus true is how much? It is 2. It is not true or false. That is the reason you may take it very light that I know everything because I am a Java developer, .NET developer, but you will fail in all questions of JavaScript. Right? You will fail 100%. Why? Because your overconfidence on your Java, .NET like technologies, they will make you fail in JavaScript because here type is completely different. Right? Lot of issues you will mismatch. Right? If I ask what is an array, you will say that array is a similar type of values and JavaScript will prove you wrong. Because in JavaScript array can be various types. So that is the reason you must be very careful in understanding the question and the scenario. Right? You may be a Java developer or a .NET developer, but still you can't properly answer JavaScript questions. If you show that confidence here, it will not happen. You must be very careful. Right? Here, why? Because in JavaScript it is little different. That is, suppose I am printing document.write the value of z. Am I right? Z is equal to how much? So that means now you can see the value of z is equal to 2. Because here true is 1 and false is 0. Right? But in TypeScript it's not like this. In TypeScript, boolean type means you cannot store 0, 1. In JavaScript, even conditions are verified with 0, 1. We will write if a is equal to 1. That means a is equal to true. But here it's not like that. Boolean means directly no 1 or 2. It is only true or false. Only true or false. This is strongly typed. So the data types are strongly typed here. Now, one more, how to print these details. Now, two options are there. Where you want to test it. You want to test it in HTML or you want to test directly without HTML. If you want to test your TypeScript program without HTML, because currently we are learning language, don't waste time in HTML. If it is HTML, lot of work is there. I will show you. If you want to test this without HTML, then what you do is use the output statement console. You know console now? Generally, JavaScript output statements alert. We have inner HTML, inner text, document.write. They are output functions, output options. But don't use those options. They are only in HTML. Without HTML, if you want to test your TypeScript, use only console. Only console. If you want to test with HTML, then you can use document options. Here only console, that means console.log, you know na? Suppose I want to print name is equal to, I have to access, what is it? User name. You know that this is a advanced technique of JavaScript string, you know? You know, in JavaScript, strings are written in single quote, double quote, and backtick. This is called backtick. JavaScript strings are written in single quote, double quote, and backtick. Single quote, double quote will not allow expression. Backticks will allow expression. This dollar curly brace is an expression. This is not allowed in single quote and double quote. If you are writing single quote string, it is not allowed. It is treated as an ordinary string. Double quote also it is not allowed. You can use backtick in JavaScript, then you can write an expression in between. Expressions are written just by using a dollar curly brace. Right? This is in JavaScript string actually. Now how to bring to new line, you know, /n, am I right? Another one is age. Age is also whatever age you entered, /n. Now another one is subscribed. Subscribed is also what you written in subscribed. This is ready. Now we have to compile this program. How to compile the program, how to compile and run this program. So open this location. This is the location. In which folder it is? SRC. So right click on that file and select open in integrated terminal. Then open in integrated terminal. It will open a terminal here. You see here. Now make sure that you are present in the same folder where your file is. Sometimes you will come with a complaint that, sir, it is showing file not found. If it is showing file not found means your file is in different path, you are running in different path. Make sure that you are in the same path where you saved your index.ts. Okay, now here, how to compile, just I told you na, TSC and the file name. What is the file? Index.ts. You see actually in SRC only one file is there. But once I run this command index.ts and enter, you can see automatically a JavaScript file is generated. Index.js. So TypeScript is translated into JavaScript. Now we have to run this JavaScript file, not TypeScript file. How to run JavaScript file? I told you we have to use node. Node index.js. Node index.js. This is to run the JavaScript files and hit enter. And you can see the output, it comes here. It's working fine. So the name, the age, subscribed, it will get the details and display. So we are writing a simple TypeScript program. We are transcompiling into JavaScript and we are testing. Actually, we can test this in HTML also. But it is a lengthy process. You can do that, but it's a lengthy process. I will tell you. Let's see first here. How I done this example. First point is go to src folder and add a new file. What is that file? Index.ts. In this index.ts, I written some code. Let me copy this code. In index.ts, this is the code I copied. I will upload this into classroom, right? So I written this code. After writing the code, open file location in integrated terminal. Understood? That means it will be some D/ so your project, am I right? In your project it will be src. In src, what we have to do? We have to run the command. What is the command? tsc. What is it? Index.ts. Index.ts. After compiling, we have to run it. What is it? Node index.js. That means now the TypeScript is converted into JavaScript. Now you have to run the JavaScript program. This is the process you have to follow every day. So you write a program and compile it and run it. But generally, we can run this in HTML. We can run this in HTML. But to run this in HTML, I will show you the process here. See, we can run this in HTML. To run this in HTML, see here, to run HTML, lot of work is there actually. See here, I hope you know, you learned HTML events and all, right? See, if I go to HTML page, this is index.html. In this index.html, I will put a paragraph. I will put a paragraph in index.html. In this paragraph, I want to display those details. That means username and age and subscribed or not, those details I want to show in paragraph. Then how to do that? So let's go to TypeScript. And here we are not using console log because I want to show in a paragraph. So then how to show in a paragraph, how to access paragraph in JavaScript, how to access a HTML paragraph. It is, if it is having an ID, we can use get element by ID. Am I right? You learn now how to access paragraphs, headings, how to access them, document dot get element by ID. If it is not having an ID, then you can use document dot query selector. We can use query selector. Query selector, what is it? Paragraph. Inside the paragraph, I want to display, then dot inner HTML. Inside the paragraph, I want to display dot inner HTML. Inner HTML, what you want to display? Just type. Don't worry about this error. This error is reasonable. It is saying that this command cannot run here. Obviously, it cannot run here because it can run only in HTML. Right? We know that. That is not a problem. So, inner HTML, inside that what we want to display, all these details. Then what I will do here, I will put a backtick again. In the backtick, we will put username. How to get the username? So whatever username variable is there. Because we are presenting in HTML, we don't use /n, we use br. Am I right? Right. So next, another one is age. Age. How do we get the age. After that, BR. Then we want subscribed. Subscribed. We have to get from subscribed. Okay. Now, when this should happen? This should happen at the time of loading the page. That means you have to write all this in a function. Body load is a function. In that function, we are writing all this. Understood? In a function, we are writing all this. Now, we have to compile this program first. Because can I link this directly in HTML? No. If you do any modification in your TS file, first you have to compile into JavaScript. Let's compile into JavaScript. How to compile? TSC index.ts. It is compiled successfully. Right. Then JavaScript file is generated. That JavaScript file we have to link in HTML page. How to link in HTML page? Script. Script source is equal to our HTML file is present in public and JavaScript is present in SRC. We have to come out of this public and access that SRC. Then you know how to write the path // am I right? You know, you learned how to write the path in HTML. SRC, in SRC which file? Index.js. You are linking the JavaScript file. In that JavaScript file, there is a function called, what is the function name? Body load. This function must be called when body loads. That means we have to write, what is the event? On load. You learned events also, na? On click, on load, on change events. On load. Which function to be called? Body load. This function is present in this file. Right? Now run this HTML page. That means I have to run the HTML page. It should print all the details. So there are two techniques. You can test your TypeScript directly, or you can test your TypeScript in HTML. But in HTML directly, TypeScript will not work. We have to write the program in TypeScript, transcompile into JavaScript, link the JavaScript to HTML. This is not required every day, time waste, because you will use this in Angular anyhow. So every day you don't need to practice like this, because to learn language, you just learn with console methods enough. Variable declaration, you just use TypeScript file only, compiling and executing, that is enough. But you should know both techniques. The previous technique, without HTML, we can check by using console methods. Now with HTML, we are verifying that. So what is the process here? Another example now. So using TypeScript with HTML. For that, what we have to do, first step, you have to go to index.ts. Same location, src index.ts. This time, the logic is different. This time we written a function. In the function body load, we written all this. After that, second step, what we have to do? Compile. How do we do that? tsc index.ts. After that, link the JavaScript file. Link the JavaScript file to HTML page. And how to link that HTML page? What is the page? Index.html. In index.html, this is the code. I will copy that code and give you here. Right? You have, these are all not required. They will confuse you. Just head section. Index and script, and this contains body load. You can see that file. Go to the index.js file. It is function. But in JavaScript, there is no data types. It translated into JavaScript. In JavaScript, there is no data type. In TypeScript, you have the data types and all. In JavaScript, it is using in a plain way. But we don't directly write JavaScript. What we do, we use TypeScript. By using TypeScript, we write the program. Then we compile into JavaScript. You can directly run the program or you can directly use in HTML. Remember, don't try these type of programs directly in Node. That means if I type node index.js, it will not show anything because this program is designed for HTML. You can run only in HTML. Previous program was designed for console, so you can see in command prompt, right? So depending on how you want to use it. Okay, this is one example. I hope you understood two techniques. One technique, directly compiling JavaScript program and watching the output. In such case, don't use any DOM methods. DOM methods means alert, prompt, document, right? Don't use them. Only console methods. If you want to use in HTML, then use the DOM methods. Okay. Here we written these programs to understand data type. Understood? What are the data types? Number type, string type, boolean type. When to use null types, undefined types you learned in JavaScript. When to use null type. In JavaScript you learned null and undefined types. Huh? When to use the null type. For example, see here. For example, let's go to TypeScript now. In the TypeScript, username, we are typing here directly name. But this time, I want this username from a prompt. Prompt is an input box. It allows to input a value. So in the prompt, I will say enter username. But very important, if you already learnt about prompt in JavaScript, prompt have three options. OK, cancel. That means actually, if you have learnt prompt in JavaScript, you know that when you write prompt and ask enter name, actually the result of prompt can be three things actually. If you enter name and click OK, then what will happen is it will return value. Now, if you click cancel, then it will return null. That means prompt have a OK button, cancel button. When you click cancel, it will return null. It will return null. So here another option is if you click OK without value, then it will return empty. With value you click OK, it will return value. Without value you click OK, it returns empty. And you click cancel with or without value, it will return null. That is what actually prompt in your JavaScript. That means here interesting point is there. Actually here this prompt is expecting a string. It is expecting a string. As well as it is also expecting null. It is also expecting null because if they click cancel, it will return null. That means now this variable is designed to handle string. How it can handle another? Actually, this is one specialty. You should know that TypeScript supports union of types. That is a great concept. TypeScript support union of types. That means when you define a variable, you can mention data type, pipe symbol, another data type, pipe symbol, another data type. That means it can be any of these types. That is good. That means you can design in such a way that it can handle more than one type. because this is very much required, because I hope you learned perfectly in HTML JavaScript combination. If you input a value from a form, in HTML we have form. Form contains text boxes, radio buttons, check boxes, drop downs, and you have learned that whatever you input from a form in HTML, it is a string. It is a string. From a drop down, from a radio button, from a checkbox, anything you input from a HTML form is a string. Later you have to convert them into numbers, booleans and all. So that means the problem here is everything comes in a string form. Later we have to convert and use in another form. The speciality about TypeScript is it can define variable in such a way that variable can handle multiple types. Multiple types. This is called union of types. Union of types. That is the specialty of TypeScript. That means you can set X as number and pipe X as string. That means it will allow both numbers and string. That is good. You can use any number. You can say X as number or boolean or string. You can write any number. So here what we are expecting, see why it is showing error. Because prompt is returning two values. Prompt is returning a string or it is returning a null. That means here we have to use the union type as null. That is correct. This is very important in Angular. When you are working with Angular, several values in Angular we expect dynamically to come. And when we are expecting any value to come dynamically, it should be null. And when value comes, before value comes, it is null. When value comes, it should perfectly use that value. That means it must handle two types. One is string, another one is null. That is the reason you should know that TypeScript support union of types. And very important here also, suppose age. Age we are expecting also from prompt, am I right? And enter age. But in that case, here also we are expecting what? Null. But you see, so it shows an error. Why? Because prompt will not return number, prompt will return a string. I told you already, from HTML, whatever you input, it is what type? String. From a text box, from a radio, from a drop down, from prompt, anything you input is a string. Then I want this to convert into number. You learned how to convert, na? You learned conversion, na? Parse int, am I right? You have to convert that into number. That means we are expecting a number or a null. But prompt is not returning. Then what we do? We have to parse. Now similarly, this is also expected from a prompt. This is also expected from a prompt. So enter subscribed, right? Subscribed. So this we are expecting here. Subscribed, right? What is it here? It's okay, no problem. Now see here, it is expecting subscribed. Subscribed is also a boolean type now. We are defining boolean type. Now boolean type, now boolean or what it is expecting null. Now tell me in JavaScript how to convert a string into boolean. In JavaScript, how to convert a string into boolean. That means, suppose in JavaScript, now you entered in prompt true, then it will come like this. How to convert this into true directly? Is there any parsing method for converting to Boolean? There is no parsing method for converting to Boolean. There is no method. Then we have to use programming techniques. Through programming techniques, we have to convert a string into Boolean. There is no method for that. See, what we do is, if we are expecting a Boolean, then we write like this. Actually, we will write a condition. So we will write a condition. If the prompt is equal to true, understood? That is string true. Then question mark we will put true. Colon we will put false. This is Boolean. That means from a prompt, whatever you enter, it will come in a string form. Then we have to check if it is a true string, then directly convert into Boolean true. Otherwise converted into Boolean false. These kind of techniques you have to implement. These the techniques we need to implement, right? That is how we need to define. Understood? These are the basic things how we configure. Now let's compile this. Here, what is the extra concept you learned? Union of types. How to design variable with union of types. Okay. Let's compile this again. TSC index.ts. After that, once it is compiled, now see here, it is asking username. I entered some username. Okay. It is asking age, some age. It is asking subscribed. Subscribed, I said false. Then you can see it will display this. This time we are taking the values dynamically. I refresh here and username and age and subscribed some true, then it will display. However, while printing output you can change. Subscribed yes, no. Instead of true, false, you can write some reasonable message. Right? These are all logics, programming logics. So, while working with the TypeScript, you need to understand that TypeScript supports union of types. So, data types and union of types, right? Example is this. This is an example. Same previous example. In index.ts, we are making some changes. Same previous example. In index.ts, these are the changes. I will copy them. These are the changes we are making. Right? These are the changes we are making in index.ts. Okay. This is one important about primitive types. These all comes under the category of primitive types. Number, string, Boolean, null and undefined. Of course, you learnt about undefined also. What is undefined means? Undefined is a type. Undefined means there are two options. In interviews, they may ask like, what is difference between undefined and not defined? Both are different. Undefined means not defined. Undefined is different, not defined is different. What is undefined? What is not defined? I will show you. See, actually, suppose here I am defining document.write. So x is equal to the value of x. So where x. Now what it will return? X is not having a value. If x is not having a value, then JavaScript will mark it as undefined. It will mark it as undefined. What is the meaning of undefined? Undefined means there is no value. Undefined means there is no value. That means variable is there, but value is not there. Then it is not error. You can see, actually it is not error. I open this, you can see it shows undefined. It shows undefined. Now I remove this variable. When I remove the variable and you are trying to print a variable which is not at all there, then this is called not defined. Understood? Not defined means a reference is not there and you are trying to use it. Undefined means reference is there but value is not there. That means you see now, I will save this and refresh here, and you can see the error in the inspect. You will see console error. It says not defined. Not defined is different, undefined is different. Undefined means value not there, and not defined means reference not there. Reference not there. Variable itself not there, then it is not defined. Variable is there but value is not there, then it is called undefined. We can verify whether a value is there or not by using undefined. By using undefined. That means what we can do is, in our TypeScript, I will remove this program here. I can simply write like this. What I can do is, so let some x is equal to string and I am expecting undefined. And you can pass undefined into it. That means it is not defined with any value. Later it can be defined with a value. Later when it is defined with a value, it will take. Now here you can write a condition. If x is equal to undefined, if x is undefined, then console.log, I will print a message, x is not having any value. Any value. Just that message I will give roughly. Otherwise, what should happen? Console.log, it should print the value of x. Understood? X is equal to whatever value of x. So for example, that means what this means? So it means that x is not having a value. So if you don't want to supply any value, because we are expecting the value later sometime. Remember, when you are expecting value dynamically, then it is null. When you are expecting value not dynamically, statically expecting value later, then you have to mark it as undefined. If you are expecting value dynamically means through text box or through prompt, then you have to mark it as null. But through program itself, you are sending some value, not dynamically, statically, later you will send a value. Then you have to mark it as undefined. That means now you see here, I have to test this directly now. Open the terminal. What we have to do? We have to say tsc index.ts. Because it is not designed for HTML, we will directly run node what index.js. And you can see it will say x is not having any value. Now what I will do is later I will put some value into this now. That means what I will do, x equal to 20. Right? I am just giving that x equal to 20. But see here, I will compile this again. That means tsc index.ts. It is showing some error. No problem. Just node index.js is C20. Why it is showing error? Error is nothing but it is saying that you mentioned undefined. Later you are supplying a value. Are you sure? Yes, we are sure. We are assigning later. What is meaning of undefined and not defined? Undefined means value is not there. Not defined means reference is not there. When undefined will return, when a value is expected at compile time. At compile time value is not there, then it will be undefined. At runtime value is not there, then it is called null. If anyone asks what is difference between null and undefined, in both situations value is not there. Null also value not there, and undefined also value not there. Then what is difference? Undefined is at compile time and null is at runtime. Null is at runtime. If runtime value is expected, use null. At compile time value is expected, then use undefined. These are all JavaScript basics. I am not talking anything new about TypeScript. JavaScript uses this. In TypeScript only we mention data type extra. Right? All these basic points are same as that. Right? Now the question here is, what is difference between undefined and not defined? You got the answer, na? Undefined means value is not provided, right? And not defined means reference is not available. Reference is not available. That is the difference. Now another is, what is difference? What is difference between undefined and null? Right? The answer is undefined is at compile time. And null is at runtime. Null is at runtime. That is the difference actually. So these are all primitive data types. How we can work with primitive data types. Now we have non-primitive types, array, object, and maps, how to handle them. That we will see in next session. Tomorrow we'll do that. Okay, in tomorrow's session, we will discuss about non-primitive types. First, you need to practice this. So then we will discuss about the non-primitive types, how to handle the non-primitive types. Okay, tomorrow we'll continue with that.